Do you prefer to learn things the easy way or the hard way? Well, I prefer to learn things the hard way. Well, it may sound counterproductive, but for me it works like hell. Because if I learn a lesson very easily, I don't follow that lesson. But when I learn things the hard way, my life just changes like noticeably. Anyway, so this month, February, was really very dear and special to me, and I was very attentive to it, and I analyzed what things went right, what things went wrong, what did I learn, what could be done better. So today I'm going to discuss 7 lessons that I learned in this month. And so let's start. The first one is relapse and its restart. So what is this thing? Well, I'll explain. Let's say you are a very lazy person like me. You know what needs to be done. You know exactly the right action you need to take, but you don't take that action. And when you start to change yourself, when you start to, all right, from now on, I'm changing myself, I'll not be the same person again. And let's just follow this challenge, let's just be consistent for a few days. So you may succeed for 3 or 4 days in trying to build up yourself to a new person. After that one relapse, just one moment when your mind is weak and you just relapse happen, what happens is you just quit. You may even restart after some time, but you may again relapse and you feel like, all right, I cannot change, maybe change is not for me, and I maybe stick to being the same that I was. I feel that relapse is just a rule of nature, just like we have some human nature, we have some flaws we have to accept. So similarly, we have to accept the flaws, the rule of the natures, which is relapse. Whenever you're trying to improve yourself, you are committed to self improvement, relapse is bound to happen more often than not. And it's actually a good thing. You should take relapse as a chance of restarting again. So when you start a new thing, what happens is your willpower and motivation is on the high. And after a few days, when you're just about to relapse, your willpower is on the decline. So after that relapse, rather than quitting, if you just restart again, your willpower is again on the high. So that's why relapse is important. When you relapse, you come back stronger. You start fresh. All right. And the thing is, your brain makes you want to feel that you cannot change. So what happens is just after one relapse, your brain keeps telling you you cannot change, no matter what you do. You have to trick your brain. The brain thinks that if he can make you quit, if he can make you relapse, then you're gonna quit the thing and you'll never try to push past your comfort zone. But you have to torture your brain. You have to restart again. Relapse is alright. You can relapse 1,000 times. That's not wrong. But after each relapse, you have to restart again and again. And there will come a time when your brain will be like, all right, I cannot just convince this guy. No matter what I do, this guy just keeps restarting again and again. And then my work of convincing him to quit just goes in the vain. So let's just agree to what he says. Let's just accompany him and let's not try to make him quit at all. So what happens is you don't relapse after that point. But till you get to the point, you have to keep restarting again and again. You have to just run the cycle. All right. So the question is, when you know that relapse is alright, relapse is okay, you may tend to think, alright, let's relapse. Here is the most important thing. You cannot do relapse intentionally. You have to, when you are on the streak, you have to be like, I will never break the streak. Relapse will never happen. But when relapse actually happens, you have to feel, you have to be like, all right, this time I'll come back the strongest comeback this time will happen, and this time I'll not commit the same relapse, and you'll just keep restarting. So when you don't do relapse intentionally and after each relapse you restart, that's when you know that you are on the right track. But you have to like make the process faster, make the process in favorable to your position. So what you have to do is, let's say you do relapse and you again restart. So you may think, let's take a break before I do another restart. So the break shouldn't be much longer. The longer you take to restart, the more the brain will be like to make you quit finally. So you should restart right after you relapse. Right after. You don't need to take a break. You may relapse again in a short time, but that's alright. But you have to restart. Like, you shouldn't keep much gap in between relapse and restart. And after each restart, you should try to lengthen the time before you do the relapse. So let's say now you start your action, now you restart. If you just fail, if you just relapse after 1 week, then the next time when you again restart, you need to make that time longer. The gap should be longer. When you restart, the next relapse should be longer as you keep restarting. And when you relapse, the restarting time should be smaller, the gap should be much smaller. And that's the key thing. And that's what I learned in this February. And that just completely changed my mindset. And that's why I'm not afraid of making relapse at all. In the past, like after trying no fab and failing few times, I would just feel like, alright, I cannot just quit this nasty habit. Let's just stick to just gooning 1 or 2 times per day. But when I learned this, that relapse is alright, you can relapse, but you have to restart. That's when the my brain lost power against me, and nowadays I'm maintaining a streak of 3 or 4 days more often than not. And when I'm restarting, the restarting time is very short. So alright, that's what I learned, and I would like you to just follow this. You don't have to just remember or try to follow every other 6 things that I'm going to talk now. Just follow this thing and you're good to go. Alright, the second thing is starting. Starting is the most difficult thing. You may have this vast amount of work you have to do, and your brain will be like, oh, damn, I cannot do this amount of work, so let's do it later. Right now, I don't feel the, you know, energy or motivation to carry on. Who's gonna, do the long work? I don't have that discipline or patience. So what happens is you keep procrastinating, and when it's the last hour, you become a pressure cooker. Your brain just boils, and you feel like, let's. I want to get a time machine and go back in the past. But the catch is, if you don't learn, if you don't beat the habit of procrastination, even if you have a real time machine to go back in the past, nothing would be better. Things would be still the same if you don't beat the nasty habit, the nasty trap of procrastination. So in my life, this was one of the worst enemies I had. And trust me, I'm still not get over of this thing, but I'm trying. And I'm far more better than I was. Right now, I'm like a occasional procrastinator. In the past, even 1 month ago, I was a big procrastinator. Like, even if tomorrow I have exam, I study nothing, still I wouldn't study the whole time. Not even just in the last hour, I don't even study. So that was my thing before. But right now, I procrastinate like once in a week. But in the past, it was like 7 days a week. So how did I beat up this nasty habit and reduce the frequency of procrastination? What I did is very simple. I just realized that when you have this amount of work to do, you actually don't fight your brain. Your brain don't resist you of taking that action for this whole time. Your brain just resists that just in the initial point. Just in the initial point. So you have to just start. If you just start, let's say you know that you have homeworks to do, maybe maths homework, chemistry homework, whatever. So if that takes, let's say, 6 hours, let's say 6 hours, your brain will think like, all right, 6 hours is a very long time. I cannot maintain my focus for that long, so let's do it later. You have to trick your brain. You have to say your brain, all right, brain, I don't need to study 6 hours. I just want to study for 6 minutes. 6 minutes is like a piece of cake, right? So let's just study 6 minutes and then I'll just keep doing what I want to do, like playing games, watching movies, whatever. Now, when you sit in the desk, open up your book, and you can start reading, before you even know, already 20 or 30 minutes pass. You targeted 6 minutes, but you did 20 or 30 minutes, and you feel like, alright, this is very easy. So let's just study more. I mean, 20 minutes is very less. I don't even feel like about to quit. So let's just continue. And maybe you cannot maintain that for 6 hours, but what will happen is already you can do that for 3 hours. And then you have only 3 hours remaining. Now it's not 6 hours anymore. So this time your mental resistance will be much lower. And this time I'll say, all right, I don't study for 3 hours, I'll study for 3 minutes. And the same thing happened. And this time maybe even finish 3 hours at a stretch, or maybe 2 hours, but still only you have got 1 hour to do, and you can do that very easily. So starting is the most important thing, and that's why you have to neurologists recommend the 2 second rule and the, I mean, so 2 minutes rule and the 5 seconds rule. So when should I apply that? Let's say a task is very easy, but you are procrastinating on that. Let's say you are a Muslim, you are going to pray salah. This is very easy task, and also taking the wudu is also very easy task. Or it could be just maybe taking a shower. If you are just like someone like me who don't like to take shower, so you may even procrastinate on such easy tasks. So what you will do is, on easy task you'll say, right, 1 2 3 4 5, get to the action. Get to the action. Don't even give your brain the space to think. When your brain have the space to think, your brain just keeps making you procrastinate. That's why you cannot just let your brain think and get to the action, jump to the action right away after 5 seconds. 1 2 3 4 5, get to the action. So whenever I feel like don't want to shoot video right now, for me shooting video is not much of a hurdle because I don't edit, I don't script. I just turn on the camera and keep speaking. So that's very easy task for me right now. But sometimes I tend to procrastinate on that. So what I do is, all right, 1 2 3 4 5, turn on the camera, and when I turn on the camera, I naturally just go with the flow and finish the whole video. All right. So, but and when you should apply the 2 minutes rule, you should apply the 2 minutes rule when the task is like big task, difficult task. That's when you feel. That's when you should think like, I'll do for 2 minutes, and before you know, the 2 minutes will turn 2 hours, and you feel much proud. And the thing is, we feel like we need motivation to work. So you feel like, I will have motivation, and then that motivation will drive me to action. But this is wrong. What will happen is, you take action regardless of you have motivation or not. And when you take action, you feel the motivation later on. So then you get the motivation to study even more, to do the work more. So when you do the 2 minutes rule and you get in the flow of finishing even 30 or 40% of your work, and then you naturally become more motivated and you don't feel like to quit or finish or just leave before you finish. So that's why, by the way, I wanted to discuss 7 things, but see, already 13 minutes passed and I have already discussed so far two. So, alright, I'll just, no fluff, no time waste. Let's get to the point. The third point is focus on the present. Yes, there's a famous saying which is, yesterday was history, tomorrow is a mystery, but today is the gift. That's why it's called present. So, let's say your past was really good time, but if you just try to always relive the memories of your past, are you being happy in the present moment? Not. If your past was wrong and you are just feeling guilty and you wanna undo that action or just change that timeline again, you cannot change. Whatever happened is happened. The more you think, the more miserable your life become. You become mentally more like even depressed. So that's why we all know that regretting our past, lamenting our past has no, I mean, I went blank. Well, I cannot explain properly, but you definitely know that you shouldn't think about past. You should always focus on now. You may even focus on the future. The more you worry about the future, you become more anxious and you cannot even live in the present properly. The thing is, if your past was bad, then your responsibility is make the future better. And how do you make your future better? Planning your future? No. You may have some normal plan. We all have, but how how you utilize your present time will dictate how good your future become. If you want to make your future better, don't think about the future. You'll just become overwhelmed and anxious or take more stress. We have to focus on the present. How do I focus on the present? Like, let's say I feel like I want to go this. Damn, sometimes I cannot articulate, but that's all right. I'm just growing right now. So, uh, so let's say I have some plans. So what I do is, I feel like, all right, I know this is the like stairs I have to climb. I know this is my path, and how do I make myself focus on the present? Because the path is so big, I'm always looking forward in the peak. What I do is I just focus on my next step. If you ask a mountain climber who just climbed 1,000 feet mountain, 1,000 meters mountain, how do they climb the mountain? Like when they see the peak, don't they get scared? Because just one slip can cost their life. So they'll say, when I climb the mountain, I don't look at the peak. I look at the next step. And when you keep focusing on the next step, very soon you'll see that you're already on the peak. So that's why you should always think about your next step. You're not light Yagami or a anime protagonist that will manipulate manipulate the system, think about every possible scenarios. You're not even a grandmaster chess player. You don't have to think of multiple cases, what will happen. No, just let God, if you are a believer, let take God just control your future. Let's leave the future to Him. He's the best planner of all. So you have to just focus on the next step. What's my next step? I have many things to do in this week. I have many things to do in next day and the next day. Now, if I think that how will I navigate through life, through I will just pass my day. I'll do this. I'll become overwhelmed. Right now, my plan is I finish the video. I maybe customize thumbnail a little bit and then upload the video. And after I upload the video, I will finish my prayer because I did not pray today at night. And after I finish my prayer, I will just organize my Notion journal, and then uh, I'll see what I have to do. Right now, I don't think much step. I just one or two steps. So yes, that's what I'm telling you to do. That's how you focus on the present. All right. Just short the timeline. Don't think for one day, 1 week, 1 month. Think for next hour or even the next minute. And your life will be much more easier. Trust me. And the fourth one I was going to say is loneliness. Yes, loneliness is real. People like me, like if you are someone like me, you can relate. Like what happens is uh, you cannot connect with people. Like the way you think, the way you act, the way you talk, the way you behave does not align with people. So you have the self-respect. You don't want to like try to lower your standard or try to become someone else just to fit in the group. Or then you just pull away from that toxic group or the wrong group who are not aligned with you, who even drain your energy, and you just end up being alone. And sometimes you may even not intentionally choose that path. Sometimes maybe life tests you so hard that your dear people, the people you love and care about, just stops the communication. Like they just ghost you, and you cannot help feeling loneliness. And the side effect of loneliness is maybe worse than even drugs. I mean, sometimes it hurts like hell. I mean, sometimes you wonder that why are you even alive? And I don't want anybody to feel lonely because I know how difficult it is to be lonely. Now, I will not say you that, alright, find like minded people, connect with them, you cannot be lonely. Huh, I don't believe in this crap. I know that if that was the option to you, you would have done that already. But if you didn't, that means that that's not the right option for you. So you should turn that loneliness to solitude. Now, how do you turn your loneliness to solitude? Solitude. Solitude. Loneliness means you are alone and you are being miserable. You don't want to stay alone. And solitude means you are alone, but you are enjoying your presence. You're enjoying your solitude, and that's. I mean, you have to make the loneliness turn into solitude. So I use this analogy that if you don't love yourself, if you are not comfortable being with yourself for a while, then how can you expect people to be around you, right? So that's why solitude, I mean, it's so powerful. Our best thoughts, our best clarity are hit to us when we are alone. When you are alone, you don't have the noise, external noise. You just have your own mind, and you can just think about your action, think about your life, analyze your action, try to make plan. How do you get better? You can just brainstorm many powerful ideas, and when you just get comfortable, when you just become content with yourself, when you become totally satisfied with yourself, then you don't care who stays in your life, who cuts you off, if you are alone or not. And that's when you're abundant in yourself, you tend to attract the right people in your life. You cannot attract right people in your life if you just try to chase people, if you just try to approach people and try to connect. It does not work that way. It may work if you are just like, I mean, some people are like naturally extroverted and really don't care much, they don't even overthink. That kind of people do that. I can't, and so I'm assuming the worst case that you also cannot. So you should just try to be content with yourself. Now this is kind of hard. Many psychologists even struggle to make other their patients to do this. And I'm not a psychologist, so how could I? I'm just sharing that how do I navigate this problem. By the way, today I'm like a therapist. I'm talking for 20, 30, 23 minutes. I did not even realize. Like I'm in a flow state of speaking. Alright. So, uh, you should do is you never know yourself properly. You don't. Nobody knows. You may think that I know myself. No, you don't. You are never alone. Like you may think that I'm actually lonely. Nobody's around me. Are you sure? Nobody's around you? Well, look at your life. When you're alone, you're either scrolling your phone, or maybe you're just doing some work like studying, or maybe playing, or just music. Give me some sunshine, give me some rain. So you may just sing whatever you can do. You're never alone. You're just busy with some things. Just sit alone and see that how lovable, how amazing person you are. When you discover your fantastic personality, you fall in love with yourself, then you don't care about other people, and solitude becomes the best weapon you have. Trust me, it's one of the strongest traits one can have to enjoy solitude. So, my talking, my advice will not make you love solitude. You just have to do it. Just have to get past the first boring side. But when you get over that boring phase, your life becomes amazing. Now, the next one is self-respect. Now, self-respect is kind of the similar that I talked about before, like loving solitude. So self-respect is basically you respect yourself. Others may not respect you, but you have to respect yourself. If you are doing something and you are doing it for the approval or the validation of other people, then you are not respecting yourself. You should do things that you want to do. If anybody wants will be disheartened or sad or angry just because you did that, I don't care. You still have to do that. Because if you don't respect yourself, trust me, nobody is going to respect you. And self-respect is really important because when you don't have self-respect, you become miserable. Nobody takes you seriously and you feel like a loser. And how do you get that self-respect? That you have to put some boundaries with people. Let's say, let's say, you are fat, you are obese, and someone, maybe your friend, is making a joke of you. Look at you, you're looking like a potato, huh? You're looking like a whatever. I mean, they may body shame you, and you know that's the reality. You know they are stating the fact that you're looking worse, you're looking ugly because you're looking fat. But if the fact that you are fat is not because you over it, not because you're lazy, but because you have some medical issues. You maybe have diabetes, you may have any other metabolical, I don't know the right word, this kind of disease where you naturally accumulate fat in your body and you cannot just control that. In that case, you know that it's not your fault, but still people are making fun of that. You're not going to tolerate that. You're going to draw a line. You're going to say that, hey, I don't like the way you are talking to me. If you have a problem, talk with me properly. What's your problem? Like when you just don't tolerate the disrespect, that's when the self-respect is developed, and that's when people stop taking you lightly. That's called, I mean, I've talked about boundary. Another way to develop self-respect is keeping your words. When you say I'm going to do this, then do that. Even if it costs your life, you have to do that. If you don't honor your words, then you don't honor your life, you don't honor your personality, and your life just gets worse and worse and worse because you'll never respect yourself if you don't respect your words. So guard your words with your life. See myself, I am a man of my words. And when I started YouTube, I could not speak English properly. I was very lazy and I was a very big procrastinator, and uh, I was very afraid to even speak my mind and upload that in the internet. I was very afraid. But in the first video I declared that I'll continue for 6 months regardless of if anybody watches or not. Even if people trolls me, I'll keep making videos every single day for 6 months. And it's already almost 50 days. I'm just keeping my words. So you have to give your words, and then your self-respect will raise. So the next lesson I learned is external validation. External validation work. It's really work. Maybe let's say you want to work twice hard in your work because you want to take the Ferrari, you want to buy that new car, you want to buy the Rolex. There's all an external motivation. You may even try to give it your all in your academic studies, and you want to become the topper because you want that girl to realize that you are not a dumb, and if you're just doing it just because of the validation or the approval of that girl, then that is external validation. Temporarily you may work very hard because you like that girl obviously, and there's nothing wrong in relying on external validation, but the problem is it's not sustainable. Like after a few days, you will not like the girl as you used to in the past. You will not have the same motivation again, and then your life will fall apart. In my case, I again started studying. I again came back in my studies. I mean, I was very out of my academic studies, but again restarted. just because I had to prove to one girl. And now I have no reason to prove to anything to that girl, and she is not a part of my life anymore. And now what happened is I lost my reason to study, because the reason I started studying is because of her, and now as she is no more in my life, I felt this no motivation. So that's when I implemented internal validation, the main purpose driven. I just write down the reason that why I need to study, and when I just get my purpose clear, when I just clearly talking about my internal validation, like I want to redeem to my self-respect. I want to prove to myself that I'm not a dumb, I'm not someone who will fail in the exam, and I'm a very disciplined man, and I also want to make my parents proud. So this kind of internal validation, like, or maintaining my dignity, or trying to, just get a good career. So this kind of internal validation really helped me to stay focused and aligned with my studies. That's why external validation, if the external validation is to the point that you are obsessed with it, then alright, you can use it. It may even boost your energy. That's really good. But if you know that it's not going to sustain in the long run, then don't rely on the external validation and find your intrinsic motivation. Now, the last but not the least is environment. Your environment shapes your life more than your DNA, more than your personality, or whatever. Your personality is even shaped by your environment, the environment you live in. Now, maybe you stay in your room most of the time, you don't get outside, but then how still environment matters? It matters because you surf on the internet, and the content you consume really change, really neuroplasticity happens in your brain. And like, if you consume bad content, then your brain will, you'll experience brain rot. Your brain will just lose its ability to function properly. And if you just consume great content, then your life will just change significantly. So you should definitely try to clean your newsfeed. In Instagram, if you feel like your newsfeed is full of garbage, full of lusty girls and other things, just remove Instagram. If you feel like your YouTube is just recommending bad videos to you, click no interested. If you're feeling like in your Facebook you have no productive things, then just delete Facebook. If something important news really was that important, then you would have known it by your friends or by your colleague, by your family, whatever. You don't need to check Facebook to know what's happening around the world. It's just rotten garbage anyway. And also, you have to design your room. If your room is full with junk food, sugary food, and also always phone, and your study desk is not organized, then you will not gonna do your work properly, and you'll just become distracted. So that's why you have to design your environment properly. First of all, clean your newsfeed. Make your newsfeed your friend, not your enemy. Well, I thought that these 7 lessons were enough, but then when I was just stating the last lesson, I remembered another lesson I just forgot, which I learned in this month is, that's right. It's called um, I don't know how do I call this. Um, well, you may think that watching self-improvement videos does not change my life. It just gives me a fake sense of progress. When I'm not taking the action, I'm not changing my life. You're correct. You need to take action. That's the most important thing. Even if you don't see self-improvement content, but take your action, then you'll succeed. But guess what? If you're not that person who just takes action, then you need to rewire your brain. Now, after 3 or 4 days of consuming self-improvement content, you may feel like I know everything about self-improvement and I don't need to consume that content anymore, and let's just get to work. After a few days, you're going to get back to your old person. So that's why you cannot just cut off the consumption of positive content. You have to keep consuming the positive content every day. You will not stop. Even if you feel like I know all these things, still you have to consume those positive content. And when you regularly do that, your brain just rewires, and then taking action becomes like your second thought. So that's why you should just keep consuming positive content, but combine that with action, and that's when you can see the real success that you are looking for in your life. So all right, this video was really long, and I did not think that this video would be this long when I started, but I am very content that I was able to discuss and explain what I was going to say. Well, I believe that if you follow these things, your life will definitely change. Well, these things I learned the hard way. 8 things that I learned in this month. I'm talking from my own experience. I'm not taking this information from any articles or ChatGPT. No, I'm just talking from my own experience, and I have to learn. Well, I have to learn this the hard way. And now, if I just state this 8 thing and without even much context or explaining, I could just say that in 2 or 3 minutes. But would that change your life? No. I really want these things to help you. That's why I took my time, made this video much longer, and stressed this by just explaining these simple 8 things. And you now see that the why you should follow these 8 things. Because I explained the why and also how to solve those problems. So alright, you don't need to jump to doing 8 things at once. If you ask me that, alright Rafi, which 3 tasks I start with, then I'll say that start with relapse and restart. Each time you relapse, restart right again. And second one is self-respect. You have to respect yourself. No matter if the world hates you, the only person that should love you is you. And the third one is consuming positive content. These 3 things, if you just keep following from now on, you see your life will never stay the same as it was before. So, all right, I should not take waste any more much time of you. All right, thanks for watching the whole video with patience. And I believe if you have come to this far, you are not an average man. You are far from average. You are born for doing something great. I believe it because nobody has the patience anymore nowadays to watch these long videos of someone with 5 subscribers and no views. You have the patience. So I know you are special. So that I know that you watched till the end, just comment down that I am I am the best. Yes, you have to believe you're the best, and you comment down if you have come finished the whole video. Alright, so let's ending this video right here. I'm Rafi. I'll see you tomorrow with another video. So I forgot my punchline, but let's end.